There's a 5-step process in budget stewardship. The first step is to track all of our spending for 1 month. The second step is to categorize our spending into subgroups like food, clothing, and transportation. The third step is to evaluate our spending and to brainstorm on ways on how to save. The fourth step is to reassess our needs and not our wants. And finally, the fifth step is to continue in succeeding months to assess and refine our budget. We're talking about budget stewardship, a covenant with God. What does the word of the Lord say about it?
In the book of Haggai, chapter 1, verses 5 through 7, God states, "Now therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much, and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways."
We consider our ways by developing a budget. And through that, we can repair the holes in our bag. Now, some items to consider for our budget plan are, number one, pray for direction. If God isn't in it, we're not going to have His help. And we need to write out the plan. If we don't have a written plan, it'll not be effective. Second point is develop a budget that places the tithe first. We need to give God our first fruits, and He will honor what we're doing. Third point is to learn contentment. We don't have to own something to enjoy it. And the fourth point is to utilize frugal stewardship by scrutinizing all of our expenses. This is a 5-step budget plan. Step number 1 is very important. It is to track all of your spending for approximately 1 month by keeping a detailed log of all the spending. And that includes all cash spending. And we can see from the form for recording your income and spending that there is the date, which includes the month and the day. This is a 1-month form. So all of your spending for 1 month has to be tracked on this form. Description of what you're buying, method of spending, and as I said, it's important that you track every penny, all of your cash spending, not just the spending by checks. The amount of spending, and then the final column is the amount of income. So you'll know the amount of income, you'll write that down, and we're going to track all the spending in this column. And hopefully all of this spending will total up less than the amount of income. And we're going to, after we track the spending, and by the way, oftentimes people that do this are shocked at how much they spend. They're not even realizing what they're spending. I had one fellow that I'm working with called me and said, "Brother Shaw, I'm spending $7 a day at the vending machine." He wasn't even aware that that's how much he was spending. I said, "Well, we can take this, which I call wasted money, and we can use it to even create wealth." I call it taking waste to wealth. And So it's important that we get every penny recorded. Now, the next step, after 1 month, we categorize the spending into subgroups. For example, housing and food, giving, entertainment, car, etc. That way we can evaluate each group. Step number 3 is the evaluation of the spending, and we want to brainstorm on more effective spending patterns. We want to eliminate the waste, just like this fellow was wasting $7 a day. And if you can take $7 a day and put it into an IRA account, you can have a huge retirement account established just from that. So we're going to evaluate these spending patterns. And of course, the 4th step here is to reassess our needs and not our wants. We have wants, and we spend things, we waste money, but we need to focus on what we need if we're going to really repair the holes in the bag. And at this point, we can write down a proposed budget with our needs. Really scrutinize. What is our need versus what we want? And in order to develop a good budget and to develop financial freedom, there's going to have to be some sacrifice that takes place. Step number 5 is, in succeeding months, we have to continue to reassess and refine the budget as needed. This is a working tool, and what I want you to do is to make copies of this form for recording your income and spending, and we can just continue to refine and develop our budget. Now, we have a graph here which is called the average household spending. Now, according to the U.S. Department of Bureau of Labor and Statistics and Insurance Information Institute, we have a definition here of what the average spending is. Now, we know that there's 2 households are going to be different. There's not going to be anybody that's the same. So these are just guidelines, but we can see that if, for instance, instead of 4.9% on entertainment, we're spending 15%, we know we're out of control in that area. So we're going to have to check that out. Or if, like I used to do with spending too much on clothing, if instead of 4.7%, if you're spending 30% on clothing, you're way out of control. So these are guidelines that will help you in developing this budget. So this is a working tool, and don't be discouraged. You're beginning a process that's going to help you to attain financial freedom. The bottom line is that a failure to plan is a plan to fail. And an effective plan must be thought through and written down. Let God guide you through this continuing process.